tonight or tomorrow. So definitely fortuitous, Jesse, in terms of the president, the timing, the numbers. Getting Senator McCain to get on board was a big win for him.
Big. I mean, the president's always been a closer, and he's closing big time this year. Once he gets these tax cuts passed, and they're going to slip in the Obamacare mandate repeal once they go to conference. So that's a 2-for-1. And I think Republicans going into the midterms next year are going to feel a lot better once they post those wins. They maybe throw in an infrastructure bill next year, get some Dems to vote for it. Republicans would really be delivering for America. And the economy's already juiced, Juan. It's already doing great. Jobless claims, I think, are at an all-time low. I think consumer confidence, 17-year high. Manufacturing, housing markets booming. Dow, historic record. There's a lot really to look forward to next year. I think they just revised the GDP last quarter to 3.3%. Could see a 3% GDP for the year. Obama never saw that in 8 years. If Trump gets that after the first year, it's pretty impressive.
Thank you, Obama. Thank you.
I mean, he does. You can't turn our economy around in 10 months.
I know that. Tell Jesse.
But it is. But I'll tell you what.
I'm not listening.
The terms of confidence, and then betting on the stock market, and then what I like too is the business world looks at what tax reform is, and we can debate it Democrat or Republican. The business world's about dollars and cents, and they say, man, this is getting close. I'm doubling down. So I like the confidence they're showing me in the market.
Wait, why did you say doubling down? Where do you see evidence of that?
No, I'm not saying it's 48,000, but up 24,000. As it gets closer and closer to passage, the market's got rocket fuel, much like Rocket Man. Later on, we'll talk about North Korea. But I will say, I think that's important. I also think it's important that McCain walks forward. This is the McCain surge. When he walked forward and says, I could support this. You're going to tell me Corker's going to sit on the sideline now? You're going to tell me that Flake's going to sit on the sideline?
So I think it's Corker, it's Flake, Susan Collins you're talking about. I think even Daines from Montana. I think that when you get John McCain to say yes, I think a lot of those people now feel like, you know what, the ship is, the bandwagon's rolling, we better get on board. But my feeling is that even as people say, let's just get something done, this is not a good tax bill. I don't think it helps people. I think 25% of the money goes to people making over $300,000, 60% more than $150,000.
Let's see what they finally come out with.
About $19 a week.
Two different plans.
All right, Dana, I want to get the DPF, Dana Perino forecast.
I think it's unstoppable at this point. And imagine if Senator McCain had said he was not going to vote for it. But I think that he made the decision on the merits. The question will be on the Republicans were able to ensure that Obamacare remained the most unpopular piece of legislation ever passed, although it's more popular now. But that really helped them in the midterm elections. This will be a little bit different. Obamacare really, for many people, was a bridge too far because it was a step towards socialized medicine. So you just didn't like it. Everybody can understand tax cuts, but the debate will be on the statistics. Does the economy actually continue to do better? Do wages go up? Do people see more money in their paychecks starting in January? And does that have an effect? And the Democrats are going to try very hard to say, clearly this is only just going to the rich. Only the corporations are benefiting. And all of you people that voted for President Trump and are disappointed, we will have a better answer for you. That's what the debate is going to be. But I think the Republicans, because the economy is in good shape right now, you add tax cuts to it, I don't see how it gets I don't see how it doesn't get better.
See, the thing is, it's not like healthcare was going good and Obamacare made it better. Right now, the economy's going in the right direction by almost every stat. So if it improves incrementally, then people are going to say, listen, this only helped, and he's going to keep moving.
I actually think that the economic concern that the president will have to deal with in the latter half of 2018 will be inflation.
They're going to have to raise rates.
As George Bush called it, the thief. I thought one quick point Chad Pergram wrote last night. They asked John Kennedy, Senator Kennedy from Louisiana, what's the difference between President Trump now and healthcare? He says the meetings are different. They're much more positive. They're upbeat. He's rallying people together. He's not scaring them, trying to intimidate them. That's where it was an argument. He set the tone. They're cutting commercials. He's going on the road. He's working the refs.
Tell everybody who Chad Pergram is. I don't think anybody knows.
No, it doesn't matter. They know.
You're saying he's doing the bees with honey thing.
Yes, he's doing the bees with honey thing. I wouldn't be surprised if you get 4 Democrats Democrats voting for this. Heidi Heitkamp, John Tester, Joe Manchin, and who knows, maybe even Claire McCaskill.
Wow, Claire.
I don't think Claire's going to do it.
Tall order.
I'll bet you dinner on that.
You know what?
Joe
Are we
Manchin,
taping the show? We could play it back and see how that is. Are we taping
Listen,
it?
make those kind of bold predictions on Fox and Friends, all right?
Okay, I know what I'm getting into. By the way, every break I get an argument with Kimberly, which has never happened in my life. I don't know. I'm afraid.
At least it's not me.
I'm afraid to go to commercials right now.
No, at least it's not Juan.
Hey, what did I say? Holy smokes.
You're the next commercial break, Juan. Get ready. Incoming. Guilfoyle style. The Twitter employee who deactivated President Trump's Twitter has come forward. His explanation, if you want to believe it, next.
Long live dedication. With class-exclusive Rambock storage and a legendary Hemi engine. Ram trucks make the holidays and families come together. Get a great deal on the trucks proven to last during the Ram Black Friday sales event.
Get 0% APR plus 1,000 bonus cash plus no monthly payments for 90 days on 2017 Ram 1500 models.
When you have type 2 diabetes, you manage your A1C, but you also have a higher risk of heart attack or stroke. Non-insulin Victoza lowers A1C and now reduces cardiovascular risk.
Victoza lowers my A1C and blood sugar better than the leading branded pill.
And for people with type 2 diabetes treating cardiovascular disease, Victoza is now approved to lower the risk of major cardiovascular events such as heart attack, stroke, or death.
And while it isn't for weight loss, Victoza may help you lose some weight.
Victoza is not for people with type 1 diabetes or diabetic ketoacidosis. Do not take Victoza if you have a personal or family history of medullary thyroid cancer, multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2, or if you are allergic to Victoza or any of its ingredients. Stop taking Victoza and get medical help right away if you get symptoms of a serious allergic reaction such as rash, swelling, difficulty breathing or swallowing. Serious side effects may happen, including pancreatitis. So stop taking Victoza and call your doctor right away if you have severe pain in your stomach area. Tell your doctor your medical history. Gallbladder problems have happened in some people. Tell your doctor right away if you get symptoms. Taking Victoza with the sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar. Common side effects are nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, decreased appetite, indigestion, and constipation. Side effects can lead to dehydration, which may cause kidney problems.
Ask your doctor about Victoza.
Hi, I'm the one clocking in when you're clocking out, sensing your every move and automatically adjusting to help you stay effortlessly comfortable. I can even help with a silent night. Does your bed do that? I don't actually talk, but I can tell you how you slept. I'm the new Sleep Number 360 smart bed. Let's meet at a Sleep Number store.
Cue the lights. You thought you knew Hulu? Think again. This is Hulu, and it's gonna change your life. Now all your stuff magically comes to you. Tons of shows, new seasons, past seasons, Hulu originals, movies, and you can add live TV with sports and news. Finally, all your TV together in one place. It's not a dream, it's TV come true. Cue the logo.
If your moderate to severe ulcerative colitis or Crohn's symptoms are holding you back, and your current treatment hasn't worked well enough, it may be time for a change. Ask your doctor about Entyvio, the only biologic developed and approved just for UC and Crohn's. Entyvio works at the site of inflammation in the GI tract and is clinically proven to help many patients achieve both symptom relief and remission. Infusion and serious allergic reactions can happen during or after treatment. Entyvio may increase risk of infection, which can be serious. PML, a rare, serious, potentially fatal brain infection caused by a virus, may be possible. This condition has not been reported with Entyvio. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, experience frequent infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Liver problems can occur with Entyvio. If your UC or Crohn's treatment isn't working for you, ask your gastroenterologist about Entyvio. Entyvio, relief and remission within reach.
Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder. Thunder.
For 11 minutes earlier this month, one man managed to do the impossible. He silenced President Trump on Twitter. We now know who he is, a German man named Bahtiyar Dusak. He has come forward as the customer support contractor for Twitter who deactivated the president's account on his last day, November 2nd. Some people may not believe this, but he insists it wasn't intentional.
In my opinion, it was definitely a mistake. And if I'm involved in this, I really apologize. I didn't do anything on purpose. I was tired sometimes, and everyone can do mistakes. Of course, not only one little mistake of one human being can lead to such a result. I think it's all about a number of coincidences.
Wow, so you guys are laughing. Tell me
There
why.
is no way he's telling the truth. It was his last day. He doesn't like the president.
No, you were laughing at the guy that was interviewing him.
I don't know what you're talking about. But I was just.
He said he did like the president.
Right? I don't believe him. I don't believe anything he said. It just happened to be his last day. He was a volunteer security guard at a Muslim community center. He was this very. He goes. I can't. He said that right now authorities are not interested in him. Are they interested in him? It's the press that are relentless. He lost his privacy. And his explanation is, I didn't do it on purpose on my last day on Twitter. Come on.
All right, so Dana.
No one tells the truth anymore about anything.
But maybe he's worried about criminal action or liability. I don't know. Dana, what do you have to read?
Well, I tend to think the best of people. English is his second language. Maybe the sincerity of his statement there was not coming through. I don't know.
Did it come through?
I mean, I see your point.
Did you know my point? He's not telling the truth.
I know, but also I think there's really no harm done. So maybe we can just let this guy live his life and not try to destroy it.
No harm done, Dana? I was deprived of probably a classic Trump tweet.
Exactly.
Maybe a nickname, a new little rocket man, and this guy prevented that from happening. I say throw him in.
I'm sorry then. I apologize on his behalf.
Thank you.
But I was thinking that maybe he was actually working for the White House, and this was a way to get Trump to stop tweeting silly things at Theresa May.
It was John Kelly.
It was John Kelly who did it.
Oh, no.
What's your read?
I mean, obviously he did it on purpose.
Thank you.
On purpose.
Yes, come on. Couldn't you tell? I mean, really? Hey, you could tell.
No, I thought he was trying to protect himself in case it turns out that he did something that was in violation of American law.
So you do believe he's lying then?
I don't know. You know, sort of deflecting attention from that.
He was in the Trust and Safety Division of the Customer Support Unit. And by the way, he was a private contractor. So again, a private contractor with this type of control over something as powerful, not just social, as Twitter.
Maybe we should thank him for pointing out this huge flaw that now Twitter hopefully has fixed.
Oh, so Dana feels sorry for this guy who violated national security.
That's what I'm getting.
You are so soft. You used to work for the Bush administration. You used to waterboard guys like that.
Oh my God!
This excites me.
I'm terrified.
Waterboard.
There's the old Dana.
Say it again. Say it again, Dana.
In fact, though, I mean, there have been times when people say, how is it that Trump is allowed to use Twitter when he violates some of their policies, like, for example, this thing with anti-Muslim. Yeah, that people would say that's not in keeping with their standards. But then people at Twitter respond, anything that the president says is newsworthy, and therefore we have to put it out there.
There's no one man who has done more for any one thing than President Trump has done for Twitter. Because if you are in the news, if you are in this country and don't follow Twitter, you're missing 9 or 10 things to talk about every single day. And for us, we're missing 9 or 10 stories to rationalize.
Trump probably thinks Twitter owes him stock options.
Well, don't you think they kind of do?
They do.
And by the way, Juan, you would be crying in the corner if he wasn't tweeting, because you secretly love it and you like to do the dramatic reenactment when you read the president's tweets. We've seen it here.
Yeah, it's your one more thing every week, Juan.
Oh, is that it?
Juan,
it could be. It could be a combination. The national Christmas tree just was lighted at the White House as some Grinches slammed this year's decorations. All of that craziness coming up next on The Five.
When our country used to flex its muscle with battleships like the USS Iowa, the world would listen. It's time we return to the America I remember. Hi, I'm William Devane. There are dangerous forces everywhere pulling our country apart, threatening our economy and our way of life. That's why I'm going to do two things: support our military and buy gold from Rosalind Capital. I've never felt safe relying on paper money to protect my assets. That's why I buy gold from Rosalind. With Rosalind, what you order is what you get. No gimmicks, no nonsense, no hassle. We're all safer with our ships patrolling the seas. And my assets are a whole lot safer with gold from Rosalind Capital. So ask yourself, are you safe?
Call now to get your free gold, silver, and IRA kits. Call 800-630-8900. 800-630-8900. 800-630-8900.
At Wayfair.com, we think that when the big stuff ships free, it's just better.
Cover better, brunch better, crunch better, rock better, roll better, whoa better, dream better, clean better. Yeah, better!
Oh, Wayfair has free shipping. Game changer.
Fast better, free better, everything's better when
Get
it's
free shipping on orders over $49. Shop better at Wayfair.com.
Wayfair, you've got just what I need.
Facing the North Korea threat, the real danger, and crucial strategy America needs to follow. John Garamendi shares first-hand insight on Fox News at Night.
As this year comes to an end, it's time to think about how you can make a lasting difference in the lives of hurting children around the world.
It never gets easier watching children and their families suffer. The equivalent of 30 jumbo jets filled with children die every single day. I've seen what happens when the world ignores these facts and turns its back on these children. But I've also seen what can be done when we care, when we act, when we do our part to help.
UNICEF has helped save more children's lives than any other humanitarian organization. Please call or donate online at helpunicef.org with your one-time or monthly gift.
As a UNICEF field worker, I've committed my life for the survival of these children. I've seen poverty, I've seen war. We're able to vaccinate, provide clean water, nutrition, education, child protection to all the most vulnerable children of the world.
When disaster happens, UNICEF is on the ground providing emergency relief.
I think the need for children in the world today is greater than it was 70 years ago when the organization was initially established.
UNICEF works in more than 190 countries and territories around the world. Our work depends on the continued support of caring donors who stand by our side. We can't help these children without you.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Keep on the good fight.
You can make a lasting difference in the life of a child. Please go online at helpunicef.org or call the number on your screen right now.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you go.
America's favorite crooner. Bing Crosby, he called it. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. The national Christmas tree just got lit. Yep, just happened by President Trump and First Lady Melania. It just happened at the White House. It's very exciting. At any moment, he will speak again. We're going to bring this to you as it develops, and we'll do that by looking at him and finding out when he's speaking. But first, a little Christmas controversy. Not everyone's happy with the decorations at the People's House this year. Get this and make your own judgment. Some are comparing it to The Shining and Narnia. Take a look at some of the memes that go along with what I think is wonderful decorations. And I know I watched this. This is fantastic. Look at this. Look at some of the memes. What are we seeing? Am I seeing any memes?
Memes.
Yeah.
What is a meme?
Meme is a series of phrases that bring highlights to pictures. Mm-hmm. And there it is. We all vote down here. Let's just, as we watch this, let's go over this. This is another attack at this White House and the Trump twist on the White House. They have in this main room branches, white branches in the East Colonnade, full of elves. I love the look. It's silver and black. You walk through, it's almost tunnel-like. You feel like you're in the woods. What's wrong with that?
Nothing. Every White House is always pretty at Christmas. I remember one time Laura Bush had seashells, like a seashell theme, because it was a national seashore thing, and there was some people making fun of her on in the media at the time. We didn't have Twitter way back then, and it's never appropriate. The White House can be whatever the First Lady wants.
Thank you, and I think people should be open to it. Everyone puts their own stamp on it. 25,000 people will walk through. The stateroom, Jesse, has gingerbread houses. What is wrong with gingerbread houses?
Shots fired in the war on Christmas, Brian. I mean, where's Bill when we need him? I remember the Christmas controversies during the Obama years. Those were much better. I think this was a Fox News exclusive. You covered it very heavily on Fox and Friends. They had a Christmas tree ornament with Mao on it. Only killed a few million people. And then 8 years in a row, President Obama refused to mention the word Christmas in his annual Christmas card. His Christmas card said, "Happy Holidays." We can say Merry Christmas again, Kimberly.
Right. Yeah.
Now
Freedom.
Trump is president.
Freedom. And by the way, those are the good old days when those were our controversies that would bring us through the famed E-block. But Kimberly, your reaction to people's reaction to somebody's version of fashion forward on Christmas.
Wait, what? I mean, this is so nuts.
What is
my
nuts?
reaction to somebody's
the knee bone's connected to the shin bone.
Right. Okay. Look, I love Christmas. I love the decorations. I think the First Lady.
But do you like the First Lady's decorations?
Yes, I do.
I like it too.
But what's wrong with them?
Nothing. People are complaining about the branches and the white.
You know what?
Juan.
People are just mean-spirited. Too many haters out there.
Answer the question, Juan.
Excuse me. Did you see the picture? So I haven't been there, but I mean, looking at the pictures.
Fantastic.
It's not these pictures, but the initial pictures. It's a very dark setting that looks like something from, you know, the Nightmare Before Christmas.
Whoa,
that
is not true. Come on.
Look at that picture. Come on, guys.
How
be
dare
honest.
you?
I know. You know what? Just
like Winter
you
Wonderland.
know what? Just bring out the toast. We'll butter up the Trumps. But I mean, come on. That's pretty. I mean, for a kid, that's spooky.
Oh, well, Barron loved it. Barron welcomed it in the tree.
Sure.
All right, he knows.
Wow, you can really run an E-block.
Right. The East Wing as a tribute to Gold Star families, which is fantastic.
Oh, he attacked the military and Christmas in the same breath. Juan, please apologize.
Oh, is that right?
You just did.
Yeah, maybe because their con will come by, huh? No,
all right, listen. Maybe. Maybe people out there are better fashion judges than we are, but I believe it's unanimous. This is one heck of a decoration. And I believe the White House. It's unanimous.
One heck of a decoration.
Juan's been subtracting it.
More eggnog.
A new Christmas math.
It's been a long day. I mean, you've been up since 2 in the morning.
How long have you been up for?
You're going to blow our one more
thing coming up next.
Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake.
In 1973, the grandson of J. Paul Getty, the world's richest man, was kidnapped. What happened next destroyed a family and defied an empire. Michelle Williams.
I asked as a mother to set my boy free.
Christopher Plummer.
How much would you pay to release your grandson?
Nothing. And Mark Wahlberg.
We need to pay the ransom. They will do things to Paul that can't be undone for any amount of money.
No! All the money in the world. Rated R.
Us. It's what this country is made of. But right now, our bond is framed. How do we get back to us? The Y fills the gaps and bridges our divides. Donate to your local Y today. Because where there's a Y, there's an us.
I'm 65 and healthy. I'm not at risk.
Even healthy adults 65 and older are at increased risk of pneumococcal pneumonia.
Isn't it like a bad cold or flu?
Pneumococcal pneumonia is a potentially serious bacterial lung disease. In some cases, part of your lung may fill with mucus, making it hard to breathe.
Can I catch it from a pneumococcal vaccination?
No, the vaccines do not contain live bacteria.
Talk to your doctor or pharmacist about how to help protect yourself.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned.
Call or go online to order MyPillow Premium, and Mike will give you a second pillow absolutely free. Use the promo code on your screen to get 2 MyPillows for the price of 1. Don't delay. Order now.
With our 60-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose. Sleep well, America!
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
What do SurePayroll customers have in common? A super easy, affordable way to file and pay payroll taxes. With SurePayroll, payroll taxes are a breeze. We process employees, contractors, and you can even pay yourself. We file and pay your federal, state, and local taxes. Just call 844-SurePayroll or visit SurePayroll.com to get a free quote. Award-winning customer service, guaranteed tax filing, plus 60 days free payroll.
Let's see why people everywhere are upgrading their water filter to Zero Water. Start with water that has a lot of dissolved solids. Pour it through Brita's 2-stage filter. Dissolved solids remain? What if we filter it over and over? Oh dear. Thank goodness Zero Water's 5-stage filter gets to all zeros the first time. So maybe it's time to upgrade. Get more out of your water. Get Zero Water.
It's time now for one more thing. Juan.
Well, as you know, I'm a granddad, and that means that these days I get my DC scoops from a lot of people in elementary school. And they tell me that Disney's Pixar film Coco is the hottest movie of their season. It's an animated musical fantasy, and it's just grossed over $160 million worldwide in about 12 days. It tells the story of a little boy named Miguel. He visits the land of the dead to search for his ancestors, and apparently not scary. Film is particularly exciting because with a budget of over $200 million, the first big-budget animated film with an all-Latino cast.
That's nice.
Nice.
That's pretty interesting. All right, Kimberly.
Oh, thanks. Thank you so much, Dana. All right, so this is a very cute story of an airline reuniting a little girl named Summer with her teddy bear. That's correct. So Summer lost her teddy bear at Edinburgh Airport when she boarded a plane. Her mother took to Facebook to ask for the public's help, and that's when the airline, Logan Air, stepped in and flew the teddy bear first class 200 miles back to Summer. And then the airline posted these little photos on Twitter showing Teddy in first class, a seat with a little snack, very cute, and with the pilots, and is anything cuter than that?
That's sweet. Very good. One more thing. I love it. I've got one more thing for you. There were 18 new names that were added to the NYPD's memorial wall yesterday here in New York City. These are 18 forgotten cops who sacrificed their lives in the line of duty. Most of the officers being saluted died before 1922, the oldest being 1869. The officers were killed in unusual circumstances. One was thrown from a horse. Another died trying to save a drowning girl's life. Most recent is William Martin, who died in April 2011 due to injuries he received 30 years prior when he was assaulted in a subway station. Many descendants and family members were there in attendance, and I think that was a really great thing for the NYPD to do.
I love the way they salute their legacy and they care about those who used to serve.
Absolutely. Jesse.
So you've been really consumed with the daily briefing. Everybody knows it. So I'm going to try to pick up some of your slack and throw a great dog OMT video at you.
All right.
This is a dog, and the dog plays Jenga.
Are you kidding?
This dog can play Jenga.
No way.
It's Spencer, the rescue pup. The dog was adopted, and now he's a Jenga master. He's been trained by his owners, and he's actually really good at it, and I don't think Jasper can do this.
Jasper cannot do that.
No,
so
I can't do that.
How does he do that?
It's pretty amazing.
Wow. How'd you find that?
Very talented. The producers found it for me.
Is that real though?
Is that, or is that
are you saying this is fake news?
No, it seems like the tower seems pretty secure. I don't know if Elmer's played a role in this.
You have said that almost everything that we've done on the show is
I'm a little cynical today.
All right, go next.
Yeah, Fox and Friends of all places.
Oh, did I get my introduction?
Whoa, Ryan, what a day.
All right, here we go. Oh, finally, I get my ISO camera. There's no wide shot we could take. I finally am on camera one time. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
No, all right. So I'm very grateful. On December 10th, Andrew Jackson, Hero Under Fire, will finally be on at 8 o'clock. These guys did an incredible job putting this together. Not only did you look at Jackson, the war on at the Battle of New Orleans, but his incredible life, and now he's front and center because everyone makes the comparisons with President Trump. The one thing I wanted to share with you is they let me behind the glass at his house at the Hermitage. Howard Keitel, who runs things over there, is president and CEO. He brought me to it as it's essentially the trophy room. This is the things that mattered most to Andrew Jackson. Here's a little of it.
Now, this is the front parlor of the mansion. And if you were coming to visit President Jackson or former President Jackson, you would have been invited to come in here and wait for him. And he would have let you wait long enough to look at the things he had in this room that would tell you he's an important man.
So get this. This is the thing in this room. See the candle on the table? Yeah. That candle was lit by George Washington after the Battle of Yorktown. He sat down with his officers and he said, "Everyone, hold the candle. I'm going to light it for you. We made history, and hold on to this candle the rest of your life." Well, Jackson looked up to Washington, and when one of the officers there before he passed away had to go give that candle to Andrew Jackson himself, and that very candle was held by George Washington, handed to Andrew Jackson, and sat out on a table, and that sits at the Hermitage in Nashville.
Did you get to touch it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Does this have something to do with your book?
Yeah, well, yeah. Andrew Jackson, Miracle of New Orleans.
Was it supposed to air this week?
Yeah, it was.
Right.
But it was delayed because I'm not sure. But it's going to be on,
it's
going to be on December 10th.
The camera to get back on you. You've only been on TV 3 hours today.
We have loved having you. Now we got to do a little something.
4
we have to say
4 hours
never miss an episode of The Five. Special Report is up next. Brett, like Calgon, take it away.
Okay, thanks, Dana. This is a Fox News Alert. I'm Brett Baer. On an extremely busy day here in Washington, we are following a number of breaking stories tonight. Republican hopes to pass tax reform received a major boost today when one of the swing votes, Arizona Senator John McCain, said he is a yes, appearing to give GOP senators the head count they need to get that Senate bill across the finish line. That news sent stocks surging today on the tax cut hopes. The Dow passed the 24,000 mark for the first time, finishing up 332 points today. The S&P 500 gained 21.5. The Nasdaq surged 50. And what a year it has been for the Dow. It has hit 1,000-point milestones, in other words, jumping 1,000 points in January, March, August, October, and now today. Meantime, after defending him, House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi is now calling on Michigan Democratic Congressman John Conyers to resign. And Pelosi is not alone. A cascade of Democrats today made that same remark. The House's longest-serving member in a Detroit hospital for what his staff says are stress-related issues. Another woman has come forward with damning sexual harassment allegations. And a Fox News exclusive breaking tonight. For the first time in American history, an administration is releasing specific numbers detailing the huge impact of chain migration, how many people come into this country based on family ties, broken down by country. And senior officials say tonight there are serious security concerns about what they're discovering. Fox News has all those details exclusively tonight, along with an interview with Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton. Plus, President Trump saying Secretary of State Rex Tillerson is, quote, still here. This comes amid reports Tillerson could soon be replaced by CIA Director Mike Pompeo, a major personnel shift that could change the face of foreign policy for the Trump administration. And that is where we begin tonight. Chief White House correspondent John Roberts starts us off with this report.
Do you want Rex Tillerson on the job, Mr. President?
Meeting with the Crown Prince of Bahrain in the Oval Office today, President Trump gave Secretary of State Rex Tillerson a less than ringing endorsement.
He's here. Rex is here.
Sources inside and outside the administration tell Fox News plans are being made for a possible departure of Tillerson that could happen in late January. The most likely scenario to replace him, elevate CIA Director Mike Pompeo to Secretary of State, then replace Pompeo at CIA with Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton, who has been one of the president's most reliable supporters on Capitol Hill. The White House and State Department quickly pushed back on the notion that Tillerson was being forced out.
Chief of Staff Kelly called our department this morning and said that the rumors are not true.
In a statement, White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders was somewhat ambiguous, saying, quote, as the president just said, Rex is here. There are no personnel announcements at this time.
When the president loses confidence in somebody, they'll no longer be here.
As questions about Tillerson's future continue to swirl, President Trump is dealing with an unforced diplomatic error after retweeting videos posted by the group Britain First, which Prime Minister Theresa May called a, quote, hateful organization. May said President Trump was wrong to help spread a message of division and mistrust.
The fact that we work together does not mean that we're afraid to say when we think the United States have got it wrong, and to be very clear with them. And I'm very clear that retweeting from Britain First was the wrong thing to do.
The president was dismissive of May's criticism, tweeting, quote, Theresa, don't focus on me, focus on the destructive radical Islamic terrorism that is taking place within the United Kingdom. We are doing just fine. But it turns out the president hadn't bothered to check on who the group that posted the videos was before he retweeted them.
Did the president, when he retweeted Jada Franson, know who she was?
No, I don't believe so.
All this as the president tries to keep up maximum diplomatic pressure on North Korea to give up its nuclear program. While he is still in the job, Secretary of State Tillerson continues to lobby China to do more.
I think the Chinese are doing a lot. We do think they could do more with the oil, and we're really asking them to please restrain more of the oil, not cut it off completely. That was the most effective tool the last time the North Koreans came to the table, was cutting the oil off.
President Trump also wants Russia to step up to the plate. But Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov today cast a skeptical eye on U.S. plans to hold another military exercise with South Korea in December.
One gets the impression that everything has been done on purpose to make Kim Jong-un snap and carry out further inadvisable actions. It is regrettable. The Americans should explain to us what they're after.
And one other big diplomatic issue on the table, whether or not to continue to waive the U.S. law that requires the U.S. Embassy in Israel be moved from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Fox News has just been told that next week the president may, in fact, announce that he is going to begin the process of making the move from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, with the caveat, Brett, that the final decision has not yet been made, and in any case, this is something that could not happen overnight. Brett?
John Roberts live on the North Lawn. John, thanks. We'll have a story on that later in the show from Connor Powell in our Middle East newsroom. Now on the tax reform news today. With Senator John McCain on board, passage of the tax reform bill in the Senate seems much more likely. And that means Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer has a decision to make. Chief Congressional Correspondent Mike Emanuel tells us what that is from the Capitol tonight.
Do you think there's any chance you don't pass this bill?
I think it's likely to pass.
It's vote counting time in the Senate as Republican leaders work to round up at least 50 in favor of tax reform.
I've got to get into this. We're in the stretch. You know, horse racing is kind of a big deal in Kentucky. We're going down the home stretch, headed toward the finish line either late tonight or early tomorrow.
A big development came when Arizona Senator John McCain announced he's a yes, quote, after careful thought and consideration, I have decided to support the Senate tax reform bill.
The Senate will come to order.
For Democrats, there's been some frustration because if Republicans stay unified, there isn't much that can be done to stop this legislation.
From the beginning, the Republican tax bill has made a mockery of the legislative process.
One of the most unfair and disastrous pieces of legislation ever brought forth in the modern history of this country.
Republican sources suggest Schumer may allow some of his moderate members running for re-election next year in states President Trump won, such as Donnelly, Heitkamp, Manchin, and Tester, to vote for the bill if it's clear it will pass. One GOP senator said if the Republicans get 51 of their members, they should end up with 54 votes for the tax deal.
I think this is a bill that a number of Democrats in the Senate should vote for. I think this is a bill that several Democrats in the House may vote for.
Late today, the Joint Committee on Taxation estimated economic growth would decrease the price tag of the tax package by $407 billion to $1 trillion over 10 years. Before the Senate votes on final passage, lawmakers are expected to weigh in on a variety of amendments, which members argue would improve the bill.
Preserving the property tax deduction up to $10,000 is crucial for middle-income taxpayers across the United States.
Senate Republican Whip John Cornyn told reporters just moments ago the triggers that some members wanted to protect against a deficit surge will not be in the final bill. Cornyn saying it does not work, and so I'm told that lawmakers are looking at alternatives to try to reassure those who are worried about the impact on the debt if those economic expectations are not met. It is still a fluid situation, but Republican sources insist they are still very confident. Brett?
You know, Mike, just a few minutes ago, the GOP almost ran into a roadblock when Angus King, the senator from Maine, tried to send it back to the committee, but they defeated that motion, right?
Yeah, that's right. 3 senators withheld their votes, 3 Republicans. They are clearly negotiating on the floor with leadership, wanting some assurances for the individual things that they are fighting for. In the end, they went with the Republicans and defeated that amendment, but it certainly was a close call. It looked like the bill could potentially be going back to the Finance Committee, but the crisis was averted.
Yeah, the head counters were holding their breath. Mike Emanuel live on Capitol Hill. Mike, thanks.
Sure.
And now a Fox News alert and a Fox News exclusive. For the first time, an American administration is breaking down how many people come into this country from family ties with specific numbers, country by country. It's called chain migration. Critics say it's a practice that has flooded America with immigrants and their relatives at the expense of citizens already here. And the administration says tonight there are many security concerns. Fox News has obtained the detailed numbers. Chief Washington correspondent James Rosen shows us the data and what it means.
For the first time, the White House said the federal government has counted the green cards issued between 2005 and 2015 to migrants admitted through family preference or as immediate relatives or dependent relatives of migrants already admitted into the country, perhaps the fullest portrait of so-called chain migration ever developed.
For years, we've known that large numbers of immigrants have been coming based on petitions from previous immigrants, but this is the first time that we really kind of see the whole scope of the problem. And legislators or policymakers at DHS can do what they need to do to address the problem.
During the 10-year time frame, officials said the U.S. permanently resettled roughly 9.3 million new immigrants on the basis of family ties. That's more than 70% of all new immigration in that period, the White House said, adding it is also the primary driver of low-skilled workers' entry into the U.S., a phenomenon analysts say most directly hurts American minority groups with comparable skill sets.
They want to have people pour into our country, illegals. They don't care where the hell they come from.
President Trump has urged congressional Democrats to address chain migration in any compromise on the so-called Dreamers, immigrants brought here as children who will face deportation in March if a deal on their disposition is not reached. Republican Senators Tom Cotton of Arkansas and David Perdue of Georgia have proposed eliminating the preference afforded to extended and adult family members.
We have current immigrants determining who future immigrants will be, independent of their ability to be contributory to our economy.
The group New American Economy, comprised of 500 mayors and business leaders committed to comprehensive immigration reform, notes that 40% of America's Fortune 500 companies were founded by immigrants or their children.
Could we do it better? Should we have more focus on merits? Absolutely. But that doesn't mean in the least that we don't want to be reuniting families, strengthening communities, and bringing more people here.
Now, we are still going through these numbers, but the White House calls them explosive, in part, officials said, because they mark the first time that chain migration has been broken down country by country. And at the top of the list, just the countries you'd expect. Mexico, with 1.7 million family-based admissions over that 10-year span. India and the Philippines, with about 600,000 apiece. China, over 500,000. The Dominican Republic comes next. Also worth noting, Iran, with 80,000. And a senior White House official told Fox News tonight the president harbors, quote, profound public safety concerns about these migrants, and specifically about terrorism and organized crime, though we should point out data establishing those links was not provided. Brett.
James, thank you. Let's talk more about chain migration, also about the stories about the personnel shifts. Talk about that, too, with Arkansas Republican Senator Tom Cotton. Senator, thanks for being here. Just heard James' report. Obviously, you have a piece of legislation that deals with this. But as you look at these numbers, what do you see?
Well, I think it's pretty important that the White House and the Department of Homeland Security has finally released this data. Let's just say that DHS was somewhat tight-fisted with immigration data during the Obama era. But it goes to show that 7 out of every 10 immigrants who come to this country, they don't come because of their job skills or their education. They come simply because they had a family member come here 5 or 10 or 20 years ago. Now, my legislation would allow spouses and unmarried minor children to continue to reunite. I think most Americans want to protect the nuclear family. But it would shift our immigration focus away from uniting extended families, parents and siblings, and you get onto cousins and aunts and uncles, and give green cards out to people who are high skilled, have good education, who are able to come to this country and pay taxes, stand on their own 2 feet, not use welfare. It would actually address that very point that was raised in the segment about immigrants creating businesses. We'd have more immigrants that are going to be more entrepreneurial and have the ability to create more businesses. At the same time, you wouldn't be bringing in so many unskilled workers who are going to compete for American jobs and drive down American wages.
All right, I just want to put it on the screen, the full screen, so people can digest this. Your family-based immigration has accounted for more than 70% of the new immigration to the U.S. over the last 10 years. We're talking 2005 to 2016. So you have 9.3 million new immigrants admitted on the basis of family alone. Total green cards issued during this time, about 13 million. Chain migration, the primary driver of these new numbers. And then you have a study that found every 2 new immigrants bring over, on average, roughly 7 additional foreign relatives to permanently resettle in the U.S. And just the top 4, as we put them up there: Mexico, 1.73 million migrants based on family the last decade. The Philippines, 640,000. India, 614,000. China, 578,000. But there's others. Pakistan, almost 200,000. Iran. What about the security concern aspect of this? Well, how real is that?
So Brett, it's important to emphasize before we address the security point that just because 70% of all green cards are given out based on family status, that doesn't mean that 30% are given out for jobs. No, because you still have categories like refugees and asylees and so forth. It's only 1 out of 5, barely 6% of green cards are given to immigrants because they have a job offer that's going to pay a high wage and going to contribute to the American economy, where we do have some holes. Now, to bring to the security point, the numbers are obviously independent of the security vetting, but obviously there are some countries where the risk of bringing in a terrorist threat is higher than other countries. For instance, it's a higher threat environment to bring in an immigrant from, say, Syria or Somalia, where you have large terrorist presence, than it is to bring in an immigrant from, say, Luxembourg or from Australia and so forth. And that's a real genuine concern, just because you're increasing the volume of immigrants from those countries, again, based on the random chance that someone from their family immigrated here 10 or 20 or 30 years ago, and straining the system with those kinds of security concerns.
Which is why the administration tried first to do the immigration effort that they did to block certain countries at the beginning, and failed in court, and now are continuing that battle. Here's what people say on the other side. They say, listen, this country was formed and bringing us your tired, your poor, your hungry masses. It was formed on being welcoming. And if anything's welcoming, it is about families. That's what people on Capitol Hill who are opposed to this say.
Well, so first I would say we still are going to welcome spouses and unmarried minor children. But at some point, when you have a country, you have to have borders, and you have to make decisions about what kind of immigrants your country needs. Yes, in the 19th century, when we were populating a continent, in the 20th century, when we were trying to fill millions and millions of jobs on automated factory lines, and unskilled and low-skilled workers contributed a lot to our economy. But today, those are the people who have seen the most strain on their jobs and their workplace and their communities. We do need immigrants in some fields, but my legislation is designed to shift from unskilled and low-skilled immigration to more high-skilled immigration that's going to provide workers for some of those critical gaps, while at the same time not putting pressure on the wages of people who work on their feet and work with their hands.
Here's what the Senate Majority Leader said last night to Laura Ingraham.
The President's actually given us an opportunity here by saying he wants to fix DACA, but he doesn't want it all by itself. He wants something with it. And I think the kinds of things you and I are discussing, that Cotton and Perdue are pushing, are exactly what ought to be part of a solution.
So how important was that for him to say?
Very important. Senator McConnell has been consistent in public and in private that he wants to see an end to chain migration if we're going to do anything that would codify DACA. The
so
president
is it the
has been
price of
consistent.
admission for DACA?
I think it's a necessary condition. Maybe not the only condition, but a necessary condition. Look, if you give amnesty to 1 or 2 million illegal immigrants who were brought here through no fault of their own as kids, you're going to have at least a couple negative effects. And one of those negative effects is you're going to create a whole new chain of chain migration. The way to control for that negative effect is to stop chain migration.
All right. The other story is this personnel shift, and that possibly Secretary Tillerson is going to leave. Director Pompeo goes to state is the big thing, and then you would go to CIA. Comment on that.
Well, Sarah Sanders said today that she had no personnel announcements to make, and we're in the middle of voting on a very important tax bill in the Senate. So I'll be going back there shortly to cast those votes, where I'm proud to be representing the people of Arkansas.
Would you like to be CIA director?
I'm very proud to be representing the people of Arkansas.
I figured I'd stop with 2 questions there. Senator, thanks for the time.
Thank you, Brett.
Sex, drugs, and transgender bathrooms. Roy Moore goes on the attack in the Alabama Senate race. We'll have an update on that, plus other stories next.
Hi, I'm Kevin Demerit, founder of Lear Capital. Stocks have soared and home values are back up. Financially, things feel great. But where are the new buy low, sell high opportunities? How about an investment with rising demand and shrinking supply? That's easy to buy, easy to sell, and never been worth zero. What is it? Silver. Right now, silver would have to rise over 150% just to match its previous high. What an opportunity with stocks at all-time highs and silver at historic lows. It's time to consider silver.
Call now to receive this special report and DVD on why silver may be the best win-win investment opportunity for 2018. Learn a simple way to increase your silver results by as much as 30%. You can also qualify for up to a $2,000 bonus when you roll over a portion of your IRA or 401k into a Lear Capital Precious Metals IRA. Call 1-800-885-5100.
Can you fit in there?
I got this.
So that's the new man, huh?
Yep.
Well, he's getting a little close to my ride.
Wow, that's how you make a first impression. They're gonna love you.
That's Ford, America's best-selling brand. Hurry in for 0% financing for 72 months across a full lineup of Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs. And just announced, get 0% APR for 72 months plus $1,000 cash back. Take advantage of these exclusive holiday offers during the Ford year-end sales event.
When you have a cold, stuff happens. Shut down cold symptoms fast with maximum strength Alka-Seltzer Plus liquid gels.
Tired of sore throat lozenges that only last a short time? Try new Alka-Seltzer Plus sore throat relief. The melts dissolve quickly. Plus, the powerful pain reliever provides long-lasting relief for up to 6 hours. Try new Alka-Seltzer Plus.
Tucker's final exam face-off. Preem, Ducey, 2 undefeated champions, but only one will win it all. Who will it be? It's the matchup you can't miss tonight.
Ready, Daddy?
Thank you, VSP.
Lost your vision coverage? Enroll today in an affordable individual vision plan direct from VSP.
Look, Grandpa.
Wow, what a monster.
No, it's you.
Thank you, VSP.
Lost your vision coverage? Enroll today in an affordable individual vision plan direct from VSP.
This is all of us.
Not again. I'm always in the bunker. Thank you, VSP.
Lost your vision coverage? Enroll today in an affordable individual vision plan direct from VSP.
Wow, thank you, VSP.
Lost your vision coverage? Enroll today in an affordable individual vision plan direct from VSP.
This is a Fox News alert. The jury has reached a verdict in the trial of an illegal immigrant accused of murder in the shooting death of a young woman in San Francisco. We've been following this trial for a long time. Jose Inez Garcia Zarate has insisted that the shooting of Kate Steinle in 2015 was an accident. Zarate had been deported multiple times and was out because local officials had refused to notify federal immigration authorities. That verdict expected to be announced in just a few minutes. Claudia Cowan is outside the courtroom, and we will go to her live when that verdict comes in. Meantime, up on Capitol Hill, House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi now says Democratic Congressman John Conyers from Michigan should resign. Pelosi's comment comes as the Michigan Democrat sits in a Detroit hospital as another woman comes forward with damaging allegations against him. Here's correspondent Peter Ducey.
Today's the day Democratic leaders finally turned on the longest-serving lawmaker in their party.
I pray for Congressman Conyers and his family and wish them well. However, Congressman Conyers should resign.
That's a polar opposite position for Pelosi from just 4 days ago.
We are strengthened by due process. Just because someone is accused, and was it one accusation? Is it two? I think there has to be. John Conyers is an icon in our country.
Also calling for Conyers to quit today, Democratic Whip Steny Hoyer and House Democratic Caucus Chairman Joe Crowley. But
the decision will be made by Congressman Conyers.
A lawyer speaking for the 88-year-old Michigan Democrat, who is now hospitalized with a stress-related condition, says leadership can't make him leave.
First of all, it is not up to Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi did not elect the congressman, and she sure as hell won't be the one to tell the congressman to leave.
For the first time, a former Conyers staffer named Marion Brown, who accepted a taxpayer-funded settlement from Conyers after accusing him of sexual misconduct, is detailing her allegations.
He asked me to satisfy him sexually. He pointed to areas of genital areas of his body and asked me to, touch it.
Those details were on House Speaker Paul Ryan's mind when he arrived at a podium this morning.
No one should have to go through something like that, let alone here in Congress. So yes, I think he should resign. I think he should resign immediately.
The Congressional Black Caucus remains conflicted about Conyers. South Carolina Congressman Jim Clyburn called for him to quit, but Missouri Congressman Emanuel Cleaver believes Democratic leaders are only reacting like that because of outside pressure.
Leader Pelosi and Sister Leader Clyburn had no other alternative today. It's not like there were 12 or 13 options. They did what they had to do.
And tonight, Senator Al Franken is dealing with new accusations of sexual misconduct, including allegations from an Army veteran who says that he groped her during a photo op in Kuwait in 2003. But Franken's office insists that he's taken thousands of photos and he's never misbehaved intentionally. Brett.
Peter Ducey live on Capitol Hill. Peter, thank you. On the other side of the aisle, Alabama Republican Senate candidate Roy Moore is not saying much about sexual harassment allegations against him, but he is attacking Democrat Doug Jones, his opponent, over sex, drugs, and transgender bathrooms. Correspondent Kevin Corke is at the White House tonight with that. Good evening, Kevin.
Hey there. You're right, Brett. He certainly is. By the way, still no word from the White House as to whether the president will, in fact, campaign for Judge Moore, although we doubt that will happen. Still, that's not stopping the campaign from using the president's own words to remind Alabama voters what he thinks of his Democratic opponent.
And Doug Jones? Well, we'll let President Trump tell you about Doug Jones.
We don't need a liberal person in there. Jones, I've looked at his record. It's terrible on crime, bad on borders, bad with the military, bad for the Second Amendment.
That's a brand new ad campaign, and though the president has yet to officially endorse Moore, his comments about Jones could be the next best thing, especially for a candidate that's in an increasingly tough Senate race. Take a look at the latest Real Clear Politics average, showing Moore still leading Jones, but by a mere 2 percentage points, obviously well within striking range.
They're the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender who want to change our culture.
Yesterday, of course, at a speech out the Mobile, Moore tried to blame outsiders for trying to influence a race that he says should be decided by the folks who live in Alabama.
In 3 county-wide campaigns, We can stop it and get them out, or we can keep going.
Moore's remarks, of course, twice interrupted by protesters. He blamed those outbursts, by the way, on comedian Jimmy Kimmel, who he says encouraged those folks to disrupt that event. The judge taking to Twitter, tweeting directly to Kimmel, saying, look, if you want to mock our Christian values, come down here to Alabama and do it man to man. To which Kimmel replied, okay, Roy, but I'm leaving my daughters at home. P.S. Wear that cute little leather vest. All this is happening as there is also a report out that suggests that Moore took part in a religious study course in which one of the folks who were speaking in that course suggested women shouldn't be allowed to run for public office. Again, Moore didn't make those comments, but the Jones camp is trying to tie him to that controversy. 13 more days to the election, Brett.
And we'll have full coverage of that election. It'll be a big one. Kevin Corke live in the White House briefing room. Kevin, thanks. Ousted Today Show host Matt Lauer is apologizing for the sexual harassment allegations that resulted in his firing. But Lauer also says in that statement some of those accusations are not accurate. Lauer writing, quote, there are no words to express my sorrow and regret for the pain I have caused. But later in that statement writes, some of what is being said about me is untrue or mischaracterized. More detailed accusations about Lauer have come out in the hours since his dismissal. Texas Republican Congressman Joe Barton says he will not seek re-election next year. A nude photo of Barton circulated online recently, and a Republican activist released messages of a sexual nature from him. Barton initially refused to heed the calls that he not seek re-election for a 19th term. Many fellow Republicans want him to resign immediately. Up next, President Trump promised to move the U.S. Embassy in Israel. You heard about that earlier. Is he about to deliver? We'll head to the Middle East.
No matter how the markets change, at T. Rowe Price, our disciplined approach remains. Global markets may be uncertain, but you can feel confident in our investment experience around the world. Call us or your advisor. T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence.
Fact. People spend less time lying awake with aches and pains with Advil PM than with Tylenol PM. Advil PM combines the #1 pain reliever with the #1 sleep aid. Gentle, non-habit-forming Advil PM for a healing night's sleep.
If you just sign that first
I'm
one
so
there.
sorry. I don't feel comfortable signing that.
I don't get the math here.
Was this the same car we talked about?
What's this dealer preparation fee?
I'm so sorry. This just is not
what we talked about.
Get the car without the car salesman. Carvana.com, the better way to buy a car.
You might take something for your heart or joints, but do you take something for your brain? With an ingredient originally found in jellyfish, Prevagen is the #1 selling brain health supplement in drugstores nationwide. Prevagen, the name to remember.
Booking a flight at the last minute doesn't have to be expensive. Just go to Priceline. It's the best place to book a flight a few days before my trip and still save up to 40%. Just tap and go. For the best savings on flights, go to Priceline.
As a practicing dentist, patients frequently come to me with a pretty personal question. Is there any way to truly eliminate embarrassing bad breath and prevent it from returning? That's when I tell them about Smart Mouth. Science proves that beating bad breath means neutralizing the real source of bad breath, sulfur gas. So if you're serious about eliminating and preventing bad breath, nothing works better than Smart Mouth's activated zinc ion technology. Smart Mouth's patented dual formula combines a sulfur eliminator and a zinc ion activator to release billions of zinc ions. Activated Smart Mouth eliminates existing sulfur gas and blocks the production of new sulfur gas for 12 hours. No sulfur gas, no bad breath. Smart Mouth is the only activated rinse that stops the real source of bad breath. I use it, it works, and I recommend it to all my patients.
Smart Mouth. Never have bad breath.
Just like magic, Progressive gives you options based on your budget.
You ever feel like cliche foil characters scheming against a top insurer for no reason? Nah. So, why don't we like Flo? She has the name your price tool and we want it. But why? Why don't we actually do any work?
Why do you only own one suit?
It's just the way it is, underdeveloped office character.
You're right. Thanks, Bill.
No, you're Bill. I'm Tom. You know what? No one cares.
As we told you earlier, there are new questions tonight about the makeup of President Trump's national security and foreign policy teams. One cabinet official is believed to be on his way out in a high-level game of musical chairs. Correspondent Rich Edson fills in the blanks from the State Department tonight.
Secretary of State Rex Tillerson is continuing his schedule. He enjoys his job, and he will stay in it unless President Trump tells him otherwise. That's according to the State Department, which took nearly 5 hours to respond to reports this morning. The Chief of Staff, John Kelly, has developed a plan to transition Tillerson out. Tillerson met this morning with the German foreign minister, later with the president. And the State Department spokesperson says Tillerson will keep his travel schedule.
He's just going on about his business. He has a big agenda. That agenda has certainly not changed. He remains the Secretary of State. As long as he is serving at the pleasure of the president, he will continue to do that job.
Despite speculation since this summer Tillerson is leaving, aides point out he's still here, though there have been disagreements with the White House over staffing and policy on Iran, Qatar, and North Korea. If he leaves, one analyst says his suspected replacement